This is the Speak Easy podcast where we come to you special here in the Desire to Inspire community on Facebook. Why? Because guess what? That's what it's all about. Speak Easy is all about connecting with the individuals who are ready to move and shake. We are talking all about what it means to be the successfully paid speaker and author. I am your host, the hostess with the mostest, Altovise Pelzer, the voice coach, that part, founder of the World Voice League, a virtual community of female speakers looking to impact social change. With that being said, guys, it's my quid-iversary. Hey, quid-iversary. It's my quid-iversary. Okay. I told y'all that I would not do that to y'all, but it's okay. I'm excited today. It's a celebration. I'm celebrating 2 years off of my job. And why is that so important? Because I'm also celebrating next month 2 years the podcast. Yes. Well, yeah. It's pretty freaking phenomenal, if you do say so. If I do say so myself. But there have been some amazing lessons that I've learned along the way that can really help you as an entrepreneur, no matter what level of entrepreneurship you're on, meaning you're in the planning stages, you're in the I'm ready to quit my job stage, you're in the I want to launch a podcast, I want to write the book, whatever stage you are in your particular business and brand. I know that the tips that I'm going to share today will definitely help you in that arena, simply because as an introvert, as the person that was behind the scenes all the time, as the shy person, I was never immediately wanting to be in front of the camera. I never really wanted to be the face of the brand. And that was because just of who I am as an individual. But I found that being the face of the brand and being this person who brings all of this liveliness to the World Voice League and Speakeasy podcast, it's something that I really love. I've come to love it. I love doing the podcast each week. I love connecting with our guests. I love coming and doing these special segments for different communities here throughout social media world, because it's these internet streets. But not only that, I love to hear the feedback from you, the listeners, and what you've been able to do. So super excited to talk to you guys about my journey. But first and foremost, let's talk about it. The journey almost did not happen. It almost did not happen. So one of the things that I did yesterday, and I know these will probably be backwards on Facebook when you're watching the replay, my bad, sorry. But it says, write your own story. And it's actually going to be on my wall. It says, write your own story. And the reason why I wanted to show you this was because, and for those listening in, I said, that's why I read what it said, write your own story. Yes, cute, yeah. But the reason why I wanted to start with this is because it took me 8 years to write my first book. Many times we discredit ourselves. We say that we're not good enough, we're not smart enough. We're saying that people don't want to hear what it is we're writing about, that it won't matter, it won't help anybody. They have so many other books, that the market is saturated, and we give ourselves so many excuses that we will literally keep pushing back our purpose and our dream, not realizing that that purpose and that dream will open up opportunities for you to go into your greatness. That purpose and that dream is going to open up doors that you would never have the opportunity to go through if you did not say yes. And so when I decided in 2015, when I decided that 2016 was going to be the year that I published my first book, I made a huge effort towards pushing towards that. I had action steps. I had just connected with someone who was my coach. I had gone and taken classes and did all the research. And I said, you know what? It's time out for all the research. I just need to jump. I need to leap. So that is the first piece of it, is that we spend a lot of time researching. I spent 8 years researching on how to publish a book, how long it should be, how short it should be, what the cover should look like, what should be on the cover. I spent so many years pushing and pushing and pushing to try to get this book published. And it wasn't until I just let everything go and I jumped that I actually got it done. Guys, I mean, I am so serious. Struggled. I mean, even down to the title, fighting myself on, is this really something that I want to share? Is, do I really want to be this transparent in the book? And I want to make sure I don't sound bitter in the book, that I want to sound better. And because I never want to hold people in a hostage mindset of, you need to stay in that fear moment or stay in that pain. It's not necessarily that. And most people actually find that writing is allows you the opportunity to be reflective. It's a way for you to clear your head and clear your heart sometimes. So it's very therapeutic when you're writing and getting that stuff out. Even if you don't publish the book, it's very therapeutic just to get it out of your head. So with that being said, here it is, 8 years struggling, and I finally write the first book. The first book is It's Okay to Cry. And why was that so significant? I struggled so much with writing this first book because, man, oh man, I said, who wants to read a book about crying? Who wants to read a book about being, that's not, nobody wants to even talk about crying, let alone read a book about it. So that part. And I really had to say to myself that there was somebody who needed this. And a lot of times we go through life thinking that we're not needed, that the wisdom we have is not really wisdom, but it is. And so when I realized that this was needed, that there was somebody somewhere that needed this specific information that's in this book, I went all out. I went ahead, I got the book done, I published the book. And man, when I held that book in my hand for the first time in March of 2016, I cried. Yes, I'm a big baby. Don't judge me. This is the non-judgment zone. But when I had that first book in my hand, man, I cried. Simply because 8 years of struggling with, am I good enough, had come to a head. And I was now giving the world my greatness. I was now sharing my heart with them. And it put me in such a different headspace that I just wanted to keep going. And 2 months later, the second book came out. Now, when the second book came out, you couldn't tell me nothing. I was like, 2 books in 1 year? What? You can't tell me nothing. I'm that girl. She that girl. But it also allowed me to sit my butt down and say, oh my goodness, what is this second book going to be about? And it was the process that really started my whole mission. The World Voice League came from this. It came from this process of me going through and defining my voice. And defining your voice is for women that have gone through abuse, for women that have gone through the majority of things. There comes a moment where we get silenced. We're silenced by outside forces. We're silenced by the media. We're silenced by our jobs. We're silenced by the family, quote unquote, family dynamic. We're silenced by so many different things that I had to break free and give this story first, but then this one had to come because this was the process that I actually went through in order to find my voice. This actually takes you through the process. There's pages for you to write things out. Why? Because I felt like we go through too many days of being silent. I mean, you tell me, haven't we been silent long enough? We've been silent and allowed our families to crumble. We've been silent and allowed our marriages to fall apart. We've been silent and allowed our children to go through hell and high water. We've been silent long enough. When will we find our voice? And then after we find our voice, when will we use it? And so The second book, Define Your Voice, just made my day. The third book was Press, and there have been many more since then. So 3 years, I've published or co-authored 11 books in 3 years. Here we are about to get to, go into year number 4, and I have even more books coming simply because I took that first step. Now, here's the thing, as I'm talking about these lessons that I've learned, with this being my second year quitiversary, I learned with writing these books, even before I quit my job, these were the foundation for me to have when I came to that moment of saying, I can do this. That's one of the key elements I want you to understand right now, is that when you say, I can do this, when you have something physically that you have accomplished in your hand, or you can physically look at something and say that I did that, now that is your stepping stone. That is your foundation. That is your cornerstone for the journey that you are about to be on. Many times we struggle and we want it to be perfect. Well, your imperfection is holding you back. No, your need to be perfect is holding you back. Your imperfection is what makes you human. Your need for perfection is holding you back. Your imperfection is what makes you human. And so I've gone through this huge transition within the last few weeks, the last month, with the podcast and expanding how we're marketing it and who we're reaching and how we're reaching people, with the blog, the Our Voice Matters blog, with the World Voice League community. It's all about, reaching people. And within doing that, you get people that criticize you and tell you that that's not what it's supposed to be about. But I know my heart. And so I really had to get to a mindset of saying, listen, we've gotten this far. We can go further, but we're going to have to put in the work. Somebody say work, W-E-R-K, not W-O-R, W-E-R-K. Somebody say work, because that is what is needed in order for you to take this to a whole nother level. That is what is needed for you to receive the success that you said you wanted to do. Because guess what? Many, 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 many people, have said that they wanted to be successful at doing so many things: losing weight, getting healthy, raising kids. I don't know what that looks like just yet. Because kids, you just parenting is a whole other subject and topic in its own. But I had to go back and say, wow, when we realize the power, just the smallest bit of power that we have, when we realize that what we need to put out into the world, somebody is looking for it, it makes all the difference. So that's your foundation. When you have that moment of, I did that, I'm an author, I did that, I'm a speaker, I'm standing on stage right now. When you get to that point, now the game done changed. Right? The game done changed at that point, because no one wants their labor to be in vain. Nobody wants to say, oh, I did this, I did that, but this is not happening. That's not, no. Nobody wants their labor to be in vain. Nobody wants to be a broke entrepreneur. Nobody wants to be a broke author. Nobody wants to be a broke speaker. That's just the honest to goodness truth. But there's always this inner battle between the money and the mission. Go on, say it. Go on and say it. If you ain't heard it before, you're gonna hear it today. There's always this battle between the money and the mission. And when we let one supersede the other one, man, it's a problem, because we don't necessarily know how to take it. we don't necessarily know, you know, if I put more into one, does that mean the other falls by the wayside? And it doesn't necessarily have to. There have been many people that moved forward in mission first and made the money on the back end. There's been many of people that moved with money first and the mission changed. Everybody's journey is going to be different. So it's finding that alignment for your journey. It's finding what's going to work for you. And I found that it's not always easy. People talk about this whole success thing, right? They talk about, oh, I've left my job. I quit my job, y'all. I quit my job. And I'm about to make 7 figures and I'm about to make 8 figures. And that's great. Great. But will you be around to spend it? Will your family still be around? Because see, some of us focus too much on the money and then everything else falls apart. So we got to have that. I hate saying this word, but we do have to have some type of a balance between the two. Yeah, you can make 6 figures and be lonely. Have children that don't even speak to you, don't even respect you. So that led me to number 2. The power within my mission. Knowing my mission statement and my vision statement for where I wanted to go with my business supersedes everything, except the master plan for my life. It supersedes everything else. Because I have to understand that every step that I make, there are pitter-patters behind me paying attention. There are people behind me that are watching me. My children, their whole dynamic and mindset has been shifted because they've watched their mother, who is a single mother, leave her full-time job and work from home. They've watched their mother, who is a single mother, go and do some amazing things. They've watched their mother publish books and interview some great 6-figure and 7-figure company founders and CEOs and owners, people who are doing phenomenal things all across the world. And they're watching it, every bit of it. So if I decide to take something that doesn't line up with my mission and follow that, what am I teaching them to do? And I always got to go back to that. What am I teaching them to do? With all the transitions that have happened, man, they got it on the money. Their response is always like this. Their response is, all right, so what's next? And that's because that's been my response. Okay, what's next? Don't get stuck in the moment. I did a live stream on Facebook earlier and I was talking about, hashtag dump it. You gotta hashtag dump it sometimes. Don't get caught up in the moment. Don't get caught up in what didn't go right. But don't get caught up in who left. Take your moment and then dump it. And you gotta move forward. And although I'm saying it and it comes out of my mouth so very easy, it is not an easy task. It's not. I found that many, 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 many times that it is just not as easy as you would think. But it is doable. And in 2 years of being off of my job, I found that it is doable. It is. I literally went, and this was the funniest thing, is that if I had not have made that leap, that jump that I told you was number 1, if I had not have taken that leap, then I found out this year that the business I was working for was closing. Closed their stores, all of them. Closed everything, shut it all down. So here it is. If I would not have put myself in position 3 years ago to be able to quit 2 years ago, then right now I'd be looking for another job. How crazy is that, right? To be able to look at that from the back end and say, whew, Man, you dodged that one, didn't you? How many things did we get hit head on with because we didn't jump when we were supposed to jump? I'm old school. I'm gonna just go ahead and claim it right now. And so I remember double dutch, playing double dutch, and I think my children and I were talking about it because where I live, I can't find a double dutch rope to save my life, you guys. But I'm old school. You didn't want to get hit by that rope, so you learned how to play the game the right way. So you didn't get hit by that rope. Oh, this gonna bless somebody. This episode right here gonna bless somebody. You didn't want to get hit with the rope, so you learned how to play the game the right way. And when you didn't play the game the right way, then it would not only mess you up, but it would mess other people up. Other people would get hit with the rope. You would be double-handed. Come on, come on. I know all my double dutch listeners out there right now. You would be double-handed. You would mess somebody up. Somebody would get smacked in the face with the rope, things of that nature. And it was all a part of the process. But as you learn, you had less and less run-ins with getting hit with the rope. And I'm just in the beginning stages because remember, I rebranded my business in 2016. I already was doing a business in 2014. So I've been in business for 5 years, just not the same business. 2014 to 2016, I was getting tripped in the rope. I was getting smacked in the face, in the head, the legs. Y'all know old school. You got the whelps on your legs. I was getting smacked all in the legs and everything them first 2 years because I didn't know nothing. I was just trying to figure it out, and whatever happened, happened. And then when I became deliberate in 2016, and I said, okay, well, I deliberately want to do these things now, it got a little easier. And then when I quit in 2017, I said, oh, now we got it. Okay, now we can get into the rope. Now I got to learn how to do the different moves in the rope. Now I want to learn how to. Now I ain't got to the competition level. Double dutch. I won't say that. I won't do that. But I'm not a slack at it either. I can go ahead and jump in the rope and jump and know that I'm not going to get hit with the rope. Or even if I do, it's not going to be often. Because I can tell you that I took a heavy hit last week. I did. Here we are 2 years off the job. Things are going great. And then you get something that happens and it shifts how you look at people. It shifts how you engage with people. It shifts how you look at yourself and look at your business. And man, you got hit with the rope. And that thing stings. Ooh, it stings. But here's the thing, is that I didn't allow it to make me not get back in the rope. I got hit with it, and that was okay. It stung. You might have got a little welt. I had to sit there and let the tear fall. I can't see him coming down my eyes. I gotta make the business cry. Y'all better come on. I can't see it coming down my eyes, so I gotta make the business cry. Because guess what? Things happen every day. People come, people go. People say one thing and do something else. It's just life. But when you put yourself into a position where you can say, I know that I'm where I'm supposed to be, so I'm going to be okay. That's the key element, guys. When situations happen, if you can keep moving forward, that's where success comes in. That's where you are the successfully paid speaker, the successfully paid author. That's where you get to publishing book number 5, 6, and 7. And that's when you decide that, you know what, I'm going to leave this alone. I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to take my hands off of this and get some things in order and put some things in place. So that way, this cannot be my last. It won't be. But you got to be deliberate about it. So that takes us to the very last piece that I'm going to share with you guys for today. What have you been saying over yourself? Because see, oftentimes we find that what we say over ourselves, and some of you may say, oh, she about to get all guru-ish on us. I'm not going to get guru-ish on you. But what you say over yourselves manifests things. What you say over your business, it manifests things. And whatever you've been saying over yourself has manifested where you are right now. So, you ready for that honesty moment? If you don't like where you are, change what you're saying. I can tell you that 6 months ago, I changed what I was saying. And every transition that has happened in this 6-month period has lined up with what I've been saying. Every single transition has lined up with what I've been praying over myself, over my family, over my business, every single one. They don't always feel good. They don't always look good. It's fine. But go back and say, what have I been speaking over my business? As an author, what have you been speaking over your books? Are you speaking that you're selling 500 copies a month? Are you speaking that you're selling, you're speaking at sold out events? Are you speaking these things on a consistent basis? And if not, why not? Why have you not been speaking these things? Why have you been just leaving it to chance? See, the words that you speak is the faith. The actions you take is what comes next. But what I'm speaking, I'm going to act on that. So if you're not even speaking that you're making $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, where do you think it's going to come from? This journey has been phenomenal. Oh my goodness, amazing. But it doesn't stop here. It's not the end of the journey. I'm only 2 years off my job. Do you know that there are many people who are looking at me right now going, I don't understand how, as a single mother of 4 teenagers, you were able to leave your job and be able to work for yourself. And here it is, 2 years later, you're still doing it. Because there's many people that had to go back to a job. There's many people that could not sustain. There's many people that could not do it. They had to go back. And it's okay. That's part of the process. I learned my lessons. I took those moments of getting hit with the rope as lessons. Now, we take it to another level. Why am I saying this to you guys? Because I want to give you this encouragement from a quitter. I was a quitter, you guys. I was a quitter. Now, me quitting my job and me quitting in my purpose were 2 different things. But I started out as a quitter. I started out as somebody who I always thought things would not go right for me. Nothing good ever happens for me. I never get any surprises. I never get blessed with anything. And then as I started to switch my words, I stopped being a quitter, because what happened was I was speaking words that made me quit on myself. And I know many a person that has quit on themselves. And then when you quit on yourself, can I tell you something? When you quit on yourself, you look for validation in other people. Whew. That's going to be a serious ouch for somebody. That was a hit with the rope. When you quit on you, you look for validation from other people to tell you how good you are, to bless you, to support you. You won't do the work that you need to do for yourself. Man, when I got hit with that rope, it hurt. But I've been able to grow and learn from it. And I know that you'll be able to as well. So with that being said, from a former quitter, I want you to quit on the right things. I want you to quit on the negative talk. I want you to quit on the negative mindset. I want you to quit on being around negative people. I want you to quit on doing things that are not producing positive things in your business and positive things in your life. I want you to quit those things. But I don't want you to quit on you. It don't matter what happens. I don't want you to quit on you. So I'm excited about what this next chapter holds. This is just year number two of my full-time job. And like I said, if I would have stayed, right now I'd be looking for another job because the company closed. Understand that you put yourself in a position for greatness, but you can also be the one that takes yourself out of it. So I'm excited. I hope you are too. So for those of you that said you may be interested in getting one of the books, if you go to bit.ly/press series, a good number of the books are on Amazon as ebooks, bit.ly/press series. Those of you that have been listening to the Speakeasy podcast, guys, I appreciate all of my listeners. You guys have been rocking and rolling with us. We look forward to seeing your reviews. If you go to bit.ly/Speakeasy podcast show, all lowercase, you can go and leave us a review over on iTunes. We would love to hear your feedback. You can leave us a review over on Spreaker as well, because guess what? This is for you. Without the studio audience, there is no Speakeasy podcast, simply because we appreciate and know that you could be spending this time with anybody and anywhere. We want to make sure that you get what you need in order to be the successfully paid speaker and author. And I know that people are going to ask the question, so is there anything that you would change? I think I would have changed. If I could go back, knowing now, what I know now, I would have gave myself a confidence boost earlier. Knowing what I know now, I would have went back and gave myself a confidence boost much earlier. With that being said, I appreciate you guys. And until next time, don't forget to press it out. See ya.